Hi, it's Krista Watson with Krista Quilts with a quick tutorial showing you how to make fast flying geese. This method is going to show you how to make 4 flying geese at a time, and this little section is part of my infrastructure quilt, row number 2 for my infrastructure quilt along. However, what I'm going to show you will work with any flying geese. So the first thing you need to do is you cut out your squares, and depending on the size, it'll usually say the size in your pattern. You're going to have a larger square and you're going to have a couple of smaller squares. You're going to put the 2 smaller squares right sides together in the corners, and you want to make sure that you've marked the middle of those squares. You're going to sew on either side of the line. So once you sew on either side of the line and you cut it apart, you're going to get 2 kind of funky looking units that look like little hearts, like this. And so this is part of your flying geese unit. Each one of these hearts is going to make 2 flying geese. So the next step is you're going to take your little square that's marked, and you're going to put 1 on either side of that little heart unit, and this is going to make the rest of your geese. So then you're going to sew on either side of that line, on both of them, and then you're going to cut it apart and you're going to press it. And you'll end up with your flying geese units. Now notice this top flying geese unit, I haven't cut the dog ears off. This bottom one has been trimmed up, so you want to make sure you do that. And again, you want to press your seams open. I'll show you at the end why it's so important to press these seams open when you're making the flying geese. And that's pretty much it. You can get 4 at a time. Then, for my particular design, I have 3 flying geese units. They look like this in 3 different colors. And then I'm just going to sew those together. Now when I sew them together, I want to make sure that I get really close and I get right there on the tip so that I don't cut off my points when I sew them together. Once I have a section joined, it's going to look like this for my particular pattern. And then once I have all the sections joined, it's going to look something like this for as many parts of the pattern as I need to do. Now, the reason it's super important to press your seams open is because you've got all these little points joining up. Now, they may or may not be perfectly lined up, but to prevent having to think about which way the seams need to go, press them all open and it creates a lot less bulk in your quilt, and it just makes everything lie much more flat. So if you want to join me for the Infrastructure Quilt Along, all you need is a copy of the pattern. Go to KristaQuilts.com and check out the links, and you can follow along with the quilt along. We're going to make this entire quilt from start to finish. Thanks for stopping by. Check out KristaQuilts.com.